Sam worked as an engineer on the human colony ship Aurora. His days were quiet and busy, spent fixing machines and running checks on life support systems. He liked peace, routine, and the sound of engines humming through the metal walls. For Sam, life was simple. It was not exciting, but it was safe. Then one evening, as he sat in his small room eating a ration meal, his console flashed with a strange message. The code was old, one he had not seen in years. When he opened it, a familiar voice spoke his name. "Sam, it's me, Mira. Please, I need your help." Sam froze. The message came from Valara, a distant world known for its crystal skies and glowing oceans. Mira was from there. She was not human, but Valari, a tall, graceful alien race with pale skin that shimmered faintly under light. Sam had met her 5 years ago when both studied at the Intergalactic Academy. Mira had been a princess, though she never acted proud. She liked to learn about human technology, often sitting with Sam during late-night study hours. They had become close friends, sharing stories about their worlds. When she returned home after graduation, they promised to stay in touch, but years passed with silence. Until now. The message continued. "My people forbid outside help, but I have no choice. My planet is entering the season. I cannot explain much, but I trust you. Please come." Her voice trembled. "You're the only one I can ask." Then the message ended. Sam sat for a long time, staring at the screen. He knew what the season was, a rare event in Valari biology that happened once every few cycles. During this time, their life energy became unstable, and they grew weak. It was dangerous for them, especially for the royal family, whose energy controlled parts of the planet's defenses, but humans were told never to interfere. The Valari considered it a sacred matter. If anyone found out Mira had contacted him, it could start a diplomatic problem. Sam leaned back, breathing slowly. "Why me?" he whispered. "There are doctors, scientists, her own people." Yet something deep inside him already knew the answer. She had saved him once at the academy, when a training drone malfunctioned. She had risked her life to pull him from a collapsing structure. He owed her his life. Without thinking further, Sam packed his tools and checked his ship. It was a small transport, built for short-range work, but it could make the jump to Valara if he pushed it hard. He sent a short message to his commander saying he was taking leave for personal reasons. He knew it was risky, but his decision was firm. Within hours, he left Aurora and entered hyperspace. Heading toward Valara, the journey took 3 days. During that time, Sam replayed Mira's message again and again. He remembered her calm smile, her voice, her kindness. Something about her tone and the message bothered him. It carried fear, but also trust. When his ship came out of hyperspace, Valara filled the viewport. It was a world of beauty. Giant floating islands hovered over glowing seas. The planet shimmered with colors no human world could match. "Still beautiful," Sam murmured. He requested landing permission, but no response came. The Valari were known for tight security, especially during the season. He decided to risk it and guided the ship toward the coordinates Mira had hidden in the message. The palace appeared like a shining tower of glass rising from the sea. Crystal bridges connected it to floating platforms guarded by ships. As Sam approached, 2 fighter crafts appeared beside him, their sleek design reflecting the light. A calm voice spoke through his communicator. "Unidentified human craft, you are entering restricted space. Turn back immediately." "This is Sam," he said quickly, "engineer from Aurora. I was summoned by Princess Mira of House Valar." There was silence. Then the voice returned, surprised. "Stand by." Minutes passed before the fighters changed formation, guiding him forward instead of blocking him. "Permission granted," the voice finally said. "Land on Platform 6. The princess awaits." When Sam stepped out of his ship, the air around him shimmered faintly with energy. The sky above was filled with soft light, and the sea below glowed with gentle waves. Several Valari guards waited for him. Their tall silver armor gleamed. They looked at him with cold, curious eyes. One of them stepped forward. "You are the human she called for?" "Yes," Sam said. The guard nodded slowly. "Follow me." They led him through crystal halls lined with glowing plants and soft music echoing from the walls. The air smelled faintly of rain and metal. Finally, they entered a quiet chamber at the top of a spiral stairway. Mira stood there, looking out over the sea. Her pale blue hair floated slightly as if moved by unseen air. When she turned and saw him, her eyes brightened. "Sam," she said softly. "You came." He smiled faintly. "You called." "How could I not?" She walked closer, and for a moment he saw how fragile she looked. Her skin glowed weakly instead of its usual bright tone. Her hands trembled slightly. "You are sick," he said with concern. "Not sick," she replied gently. "It is the season. Our energy is unstable. My people will recover in time, but mine is worse than others." She led him to a control room filled with glowing panels and crystal screens. "The palace shields depend on my energy flow. As it weakens, the shields fail. If enemies attack now, we are defenseless. I cannot trust anyone here to fix the system, but you know both human and Valari tech." Sam looked over the console. The energy patterns were indeed unstable. He began checking circuits and rerouting power lines. His hands moved quickly, guided by instinct. "I'll need time," he said. "And I'll need you to rest." Mira nodded but stayed beside him. "You always take charge so easily," she said quietly. "I just want to make sure you stay alive," he replied. They shared a short smile. Hours passed. Sam worked through the night. He managed to stabilize part of the system, but every time he made progress, new problems appeared. The palace's energy source was linked to Mira herself. When her strength dropped, the system faltered again. Finally, he stood up and said, "You need to lie down." "I'll handle this." "I cannot," she said. "My presence keeps the flow balanced. If I leave, it might collapse." Sam hesitated. "Then I'll stay with you. We'll keep it steady together." For the first time since he arrived, she looked calm. "You always were stubborn," she whispered. He laughed softly. "Maybe that's why we got along." Later, when the storm outside began to rage, the palace trembled slightly. Sam ran checks while Mira sat beside the console, her eyes half closed. Energy waves pulsed through the walls. He felt a faint tingle on his skin each time the power fluctuated. Suddenly, Mira gasped and fell forward. Sam caught her before she hit the floor. Her skin was cold. Her glow flickered weakly. "Mira, stay with me," he said, shaking her shoulder gently. Her eyes opened faintly. "I am fine, just too much strain." "No, you're not fine," he said firmly. He carried her to a resting seat and connected a stabilizer device from his pack. He adjusted the settings to match her energy rhythm. Slowly, her color returned. She looked at him, surprised. "You still carry human stabilizers?" "I never travel without tools," he replied with a small grin. Her lips curved faintly. "You haven't changed." When she rested her hand on his, he felt warmth spread through his arm, a strange sensation, like energy moving under his skin. He ignored it, thinking it was just exhaustion. He sat beside her until she slept. Through the glass wall, the storm of glowing light continued across the sea. Sam looked out and whispered, "I came to help. That's all. Just to help." But deep inside, he already knew it was more than that. Something about this place, about her, called to him. And though he told himself he would leave once she was safe, a quiet voice inside whispered that he might never want to. When Sam woke up the next morning, soft light filled the room. Valara's sun was not like Earth's. It shone with a bluish hue that made the world outside glow in gentle colors. From the balcony, he could see the crystal sea stretching far beyond the horizon, reflecting the light like a giant mirror. He stretched his arms and walked to the window. The palace floated quietly above the ocean, held by energy fields that pulsed beneath the structure. Strange bird-like creatures with shining wings flew across the sky. It was peaceful. Almost unreal, a light sound behind him made him turn. Mira was awake, sitting on a couch near the wall. Her skin had regained some glow, though her movements were still slow. She smiled faintly when their eyes met. "You fixed the main circuit last night," she said softly. "The palace shield is stable again," Sam nodded. "For now. But the energy source is still unstable. I need to keep monitoring it until your strength returns." She looked at him with calm eyes. "You really came all this way just to help me. I thought you had forgotten about Valara." He smiled a little. "I couldn't forget someone who saved my life once." Her lips curved gently. "You still remember that?" "I remember everything about that day," Sam said. "You didn't even hesitate to run into the fire when the drone exploded. If you hadn't pulled me out, I wouldn't be here." Mira looked down, her expression soft. "I didn't think you would come when I called." "Humans rarely return to Valara once they leave. I couldn't ignore you," Sam replied. "Not when you sounded so desperate." She stood and walked slowly toward the balcony. The sunlight reflected off her hair, giving her an almost ethereal look. My people see this season as weakness. They think outsiders should never witness it. That is why I had to hide your arrival. If they find out, it could cause trouble. I'll stay out of sight then, Sam said. You just tell me what needs to be done. Mira smiled. Always practical. Over the next few days, Sam worked tirelessly inside the palace. The Valari systems were beautiful but strange. Built from living crystal and flowing light, he had to learn how their energy responded to emotion and thought, not just machines. It was different from human technology, which ran on logic and numbers. Mira often sat near him, guiding him when he got confused. Valari energy is alive, she explained one evening. It listens to the heart. You cannot force it, you must ask it. Sam tried to focus his mind while adjusting a control panel. So I have to talk to it? She laughed softly. In a way, yes. You humans think too much with the head. Try to feel instead. He frowned, pretending not to understand, but deep down he knew she was right. There was a strange harmony in the palace. Every time Mira entered the room, the energy lines seemed to brighten slightly. It was as if the building itself responded to her presence. One afternoon, a storm began outside. Valari storms were not like human ones. The clouds shone with electric light and crystal rain fell from the sky in sheets of color. Sam stood at the window, amazed by the sight. Mira joined him quietly. When I was a child, I used to play in the crystal rain. My mother would scold me for coming back glowing like a lantern. Sam smiled. It's beautiful. Your world looks like a dream. Sometimes dreams can be dangerous, she said quietly. The season brings not only beauty but risk. The storms can damage the floating cities, and there are those outside Valara who wait for our weakness, enemies? Sam asked. She nodded. The Vorn Empire. They have attacked us before, trying to steal our crystal energy. They may come again, Sam crossed his arms. Then we should prepare the defenses. I'll make sure the shield generators can handle an assault. Mira looked at him, surprised by his tone. You talk like one of our protectors. I'm just doing what I can, he said simply. Later that night, Sam sat in the control room surrounded by holographic screens. The palace lights dimmed as energy rerouted through the system. He watched the readings carefully, trying to find a stable pattern. Mira entered quietly and placed a tray beside him. I thought you might be hungry, she said. The tray held a bowl of glowing blue fruit and a cup of warm liquid that smelled like honey. He smiled. You didn't have to, I wanted to, she replied. You've done more for me than anyone else in this palace. He ate slowly while she sat beside him. For a while they didn't speak. Only the hum of the machinery filled the air. Then Mira said, Do you ever miss Earth? Sam leaned back. Sometimes. I miss the sky. It's not as bright as yours, but it felt like home. I guess that's the thing about space travel. You leave pieces of yourself behind. And yet you came here, she said softly. He looked at her, unsure what to say. Something in her gaze made his chest tighten. Before he could answer, the alarm flashed red. The reading spiked. What happened? Mira asked quickly. Sam jumped to his feet. Energy surge in the south barrier. The storm must have hit one of the conduits. He ran toward the main power core with Mira following behind. The hallway lights flickered as they reached a large circular chamber filled with glowing crystals. Sparks of blue light danced along the walls. The stabilizer ring is failing, Sam said, scanning the controls. If it breaks, the palace will lose power. He moved fast, climbing onto the platform and opening the side panel. Energy flared, sending waves of light around him. Mira watched anxiously as he reconnected the circuits with his bare hands. The current buzzed through his arms, making his skin tingle. Careful, she warned. I've got it, he said firmly. A loud crack echoed as one of the crystals shattered, sending a shockwave across the room. Sam shielded his face and kept working. After a tense minute, the light steadied and the hum returned to normal. Mira ran to him. Are you hurt? He shook his head. Just a little shocked. It's fine. She touched his shoulder gently. You risk too much for me, he met her eyes. You asked for help. I don't leave promises unfinished. For a moment, they stood in silence. The glow from the crystal core surrounded them, soft and warm. Mira's hand lingered a moment longer than necessary before she pulled back. Thank you, Sam, she said softly. You have done more than I ever hoped. The next morning, the palace returned to calm. The storm had passed, and the systems were running better than before. Mira walked with Sam through the garden terraces, showing him more of Valara. The gardens were breathtaking, trees of silver leaves, flowers that glowed in patterns, and fountains that sang with every drop of water. Sam felt like he had stepped into a painting. "My people say the garden reflects the state of the heart," Mira said as they walked. "When the heart is troubled, the light fades." "Then yours must be calm now," Sam said, noticing the bright colors around them. "Perhaps," she replied quietly. "Because someone is here to share the burden." They stopped near a pond where small fish made of light swam in circles. Sam crouched down, fascinated. "Your world is full of wonders. Humanity could learn a lot from this place, and we could learn from yours," Mira said. "You humans are strong. You face danger with determination. That is something my people sometimes lack." He looked at her. "Maybe that's why we make a good team." She smiled. "Maybe so." But deep in her eyes a flicker of worry remained. Sam noticed it and asked, "You're thinking about something?" She nodded slowly. "The priests say the bond between us may already be forming. They say when a human stays close to a Valari during the season, their energies begin to align." Sam frowned. "Bond? What kind of bond?" "It is said to be a lifelink," she explained. "Our energy connects, sharing strength and emotion. It is rare and usually only happens between chosen pairs. It cannot be undone easily." He blinked, unsure how to respond. "That sounds intense." "It is not dangerous," she said quickly, "but it changes both lives forever." Sam looked out over the sea. "I didn't plan for that. I just wanted to help." "I know," she said softly. "That is what makes it stronger." As the sun began to set, casting golden light across the ocean, they stood together in silence. The air shimmered faintly between them. Neither spoke, but both felt something new forming, an invisible thread linking two hearts from distant worlds. And though neither wanted to admit it yet, that bond would soon decide both their fates. Valara's skies looked peaceful again, but Sam could feel tension building across the palace. The repairs were holding well, and the power system stayed stable for several days. Yet there was something uneasy in the air, a kind of quiet before a storm. Every morning Sam checked the energy readings. Mira always joined him, though her glow was slowly fading again. The season was still not over, and her strength came and went like the tides. She tried to hide it, but Sam could see her exhaustion. One morning, when he was adjusting the main reactor lines, the alarm lights flashed red, the control room filled with warning tones. "Unauthorized signal detected," said the palace's AI in a calm but urgent voice. Sam looked up sharply. "From where?" "Outer orbit," the AI replied. "A fleet is entering Valari space." Mira entered the room just then, her face pale. "A fleet? From which world?" The AI responded, "Identification, Vorn Empire." The name made the guards in the hall tense immediately. The Vorn were a race of raiders who had fought the Valari for centuries, greedy for their crystal energy. The season made Valara weak, and the Vorn had likely been waiting for this moment. Mira turned to Sam. "They must have learned our defenses are low. The outer fleet will try to delay them, but if they break through, they will come for me." Sam's voice grew firm. "Then we can't wait. We need to strengthen your shields and prepare the palace defenses." She nodded quickly. "Do what you must. I will alert the council." Hours later, the palace became a hive of motion. Guards took positions along the crystal bridges. Drones activated and the shield generators roared to life. Sam moved from station to station, checking every circuit. He worked with alien engineers who looked at him with doubt at first, but as they saw how fast and precise he was, their eyes began to show respect. A young Valari technician named Ren watched him closely. "You humans really are fast learners," Ren said while handing him a tool. Sam smiled briefly. "Machines are the same everywhere. You just have to listen to what they need." Together they recalibrated the shield emitters to handle stronger impacts. Mira arrived later, dressed in light armor made of glowing silver. She looked weak but determined. "The council has approved defense protocols. My father is coordinating from the upper tower," she said. Sam frowned. "You should rest. You're still recovering." "I cannot rest when my people are in danger," she replied firmly. "And the shield's core responds to my energy. If I withdraw now, it may fail." He sighed, knowing she would not change her mind. "Then I'll stay close. If anything happens, you tell me immediately." She nodded, grateful for his presence. By nightfall, the Vorn ships had entered orbit. The skies above Valara glowed red as fire streaks crossed the horizon. The first wave of enemy drones descended like dark comets. They struck the outer cities, and flashes of light filled the distance. The Valari fleet fought bravely, but the enemy numbers were greater. Inside the palace, Sam watched through the tactical display. "Outer defenses down by 15%, he said quickly. "If they keep this up, they'll break through in hours." Mira stood beside him, her hands glowing faintly as she fed energy into the shield network. The crystal floor beneath her shimmered with each pulse. "We must hold until the reinforcements arrive," she said. Sam's hands flew across the control panel. "I'm rerouting extra power to the main barrier. It will hold longer, but it might overload your energy link." "Do it," she said without hesitation. The room brightened as power surged through the palace. Outside, the main shield glowed brighter, deflecting the enemy blasts. But Mira staggered slightly. Sam caught her before she could fall. "Hey, stay with me," he said quickly. "I'm fine," she whispered. "Just tired." He looked into her eyes, seeing how weak she had become. "You're pushing yourself too far," she smiled faintly. "If my people fall, what use is a princess who rests?" Sam clenched his fists. He wanted to argue but couldn't. Her courage left him speechless. A sudden tremor shook the palace. The floor vibrated as something massive struck the outer wall. Sirens blared. Ren shouted from the console. A Vorn boarding craft just broke through the southern dome. "Enemy soldiers are inside the palace." Sam's heart pounded. He grabbed a pulse rifle from the wall. "Get Mira to safety," he ordered. But Mira stepped forward. "No, I stay with you." "Mira," she met his eyes. "You said you would stay close. Do not break that promise now." He hesitated, then nodded. "All right. Stay behind me." They moved through the crystal corridors with guards at their sides. The sound of battle echoed from the lower levels. Laser fire flashed through the halls as Valari soldiers clashed with armored Vorn raiders. The air filled with the hum of weapons and the crack of energy bursts. When they reached the southern dome, the scene was chaos. Parts of the wall were scorched and smoke filled the chamber. Several Valari defenders lay injured. The invaders were trying to reach the energy core below the palace. Sam shouted, "Hold the line! Don't let them reach the lower hall." He ducked behind a barrier, firing at the advancing raiders. His shots hit their armor, forcing them back. Mira stood near the wall, raising her hand as light gathered around her. A wave of glowing energy swept through the hall, knocking several Vorn soldiers down. The guards cheered, but Mira's glow dimmed sharply afterward. Sam ran to her. "You're using too much power." She shook her head weakly. "They will not take my home." He caught her before she collapsed, holding her steady. "You're not alone in this," he said firmly. "Let me handle the rest." She nodded faintly. Hours later, the palace fell quiet again. The Vorn attack had been repelled, at least for now. Smoke rose from the shattered dome and wounded guards were being carried away. Sam walked beside Mira as she leaned on his arm for support. They reached the upper hall where her father, King Arian, waited. The tall, silver-haired Valari ruler looked tired but proud. He turned toward Sam with solemn eyes. "Human, you have done much for us today. My daughter told me how you came here without being called by the council. You risked everything to protect her." Sam bowed slightly. "I only did what was right, Your Majesty." The king nodded. "Still, you saved lives. Valara owes you a debt." Mira looked up at her father. "He saved me more than once. Without him, the palace would have fallen." King Arian placed a hand on Sam's shoulder. "Then you are no longer just a visitor here. You are a guardian of Valara." Sam looked at Mira, unsure what to say. She smiled weakly but warmly. Later that night, after the hall was cleared and the wounded were cared for, Sam returned to the observation deck. The sea below reflected the starlight, calm once more. Mira joined him quietly, wrapped in a light cloak. "The fleet is still out there," she said softly. "They will attack again soon." "I know," he replied. "But we'll be ready." She looked at him with tired eyes. "You shouldn't have to fight my battles, Sam. This is not your world." He turned to her. "It became my world the moment I saw you in danger. You think I could walk away after that?" For a long moment, neither spoke. The wind carried the soft hum of the ocean below. Mira looked out at the horizon, her voice barely a whisper. "Do you feel it too? The connection between us?" Sam hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Sometimes when you're in pain, I feel it. And when you calm down, it's like the air around me changes. That is the bond," she said. "It grows stronger the longer we stay near each other. Soon your energy will begin to match mine." He sighed quietly. "Is that bad?" "It is not bad," she said. But it means our fates will be tied. If something happens to me, it could affect you as well. Sam looked out into the night. Then I guess I'll just have to make sure nothing happens to you. She smiled softly. You humans are strange. You risk so much for others, he smiled back. Maybe that's why the galaxy needs us. The next morning, new messages came from the outer defenses. The Vorn fleet had retreated for now, but their main force was still gathering beyond the moon. The war was far from over. Mira stood beside Sam as he examined the readings. They will come again, she said. This time stronger. Sam adjusted the display. Then we'll be ready. I'll find a way to strengthen the shields even more. Maybe combine human tech with Valari energy. Her eyes brightened with hope. You think it can work? He smiled. If we try together, I believe it can. And as they stood side by side watching the stars above Valara, both knew the real battle was only beginning. But they also knew that together they had a chance. The morning light on Valara was soft and bright, filling the palace with gentle colors. The storm had passed, leaving the crystal sea calm. Sam stood on the balcony looking at the horizon. He could see distant clouds of energy where the last Vorn ships had disappeared. Though the immediate danger had passed, he knew the battle was far from over. Mira approached quietly, her steps careful on the glowing floor. She wore a simple robe now, her glow faint but steady. She stopped beside him and looked out at the sea. The council says the Vorn will return, she said softly. They may come in force, stronger than before. Sam glanced at her. Then we'll be ready. We have time to prepare, and I'll make sure the palace defenses are stronger than ever. She nodded. I trust you, more than I have trusted anyone before. He felt a quiet warmth at her words. Mira's trust was rare. It was not given lightly. He wanted to say something in return, something meaningful, but the words stuck in his throat. The days that followed were filled with preparation. Sam worked tirelessly to integrate human technology with Valari systems. He recalibrated the shield cores, added pulse stabilizers, and connected backup energy loops. Mira guided him at every step, teaching him how Valari energy responded to feeling and thought, not just commands. You humans rely too much on logic, she said one day, as they adjusted a core together. You think in numbers, not in balance. I think numbers are safe, Sam replied with a small grin. Feelings are tricky, she smiled faintly. Feelings can save lives too. It was during those long days that Sam noticed something strange. Sometimes when Mira touched a panel or spoke softly to the energy field, he felt a small surge in his chest. It was faint but unmistakable. He tried to ignore it at first, thinking it was exhaustion. But it kept happening, a pull, a vibration, almost like a heartbeat that was not his own. One night, as they rested in the control room after a long day, Sam accidentally reached for a tool at the same time Mira did. Their hands brushed. The pulse ran through him again, stronger than before. Mira's eyes widened slightly, then she looked away as if embarrassed. I felt that too, she whispered. What is it? He asked. The bond, she said softly. It is growing. The closer you stay, the stronger it becomes. It links us. Our energy, our thoughts, even our emotions, Sam frowned. Linked like lifelink? Yes, Mira said. It is rare. Usually it happens only between those who are chosen. And once formed, it cannot be easily broken. But it also makes us stronger together. Sam felt a mixture of fear and wonder. So what if I stay, I am bound to you? You are already bound, she replied. And I am glad of it. I trust you to be here with me through the season and beyond. He swallowed. The thought of being tied to someone in such a deep way was frightening. Yet when he looked at her, he felt a certainty he could not explain. He would stay, no matter the danger, no matter the cost. That same night, the alarms suddenly blared. Sam jumped to his feet. What now? The AI's voice was calm but urgent. An incoming Vorn strike team is approaching the palace perimeter. They are small but well armed. Detection indicates high-level tactical coordination. Mira rose, her glow increasing faintly. They want to take me. That is their goal. They know capturing the princess will give them control of the planetary core. Sam grabbed his pulse rifle. Then we stopped them before they reached the palace. The guards moved quickly, forming a line near the palace gates. Sam and Mira followed, standing beside them. Mira extended her hands and soft light spread from her fingertips, forming protective barriers along the hallways. Sam noticed again that when she focused, he felt a surge in his chest. His energy seemed to synchronize with hers, a rhythm he could almost understand. The Vorn arrived in force. Small hovercrafts glided across the palace grounds carrying armored soldiers. The guards opened fire and a fierce battle began. Sam fired alongside them, using both his human skills and the knowledge he had gained of Villari energy fields to protect key entrances. Mira stayed near the center of the defense, her arms glowing as she directed energy shields. Sparks flew around her as she deflected projectiles. Every time she exerted herself, Sam felt it. Pain, strain, and then a sudden rush of warmth and power. The bond was real, and it was becoming stronger with each passing moment. Hours passed, and the attack was repelled. But the strain on Mira was immense. Sam noticed she was staggering, her glow flickering dangerously. He rushed to her side. "Mira, you need to rest. You're pushing too far." She shook her head weakly. "If I rest now, the shield may fail, and the enemy will return." "You're not alone in this," he said firmly. "Let me help you. We fight together." She looked at him with tired eyes and gave a faint smile. "I am glad you are here. More than I can say." Sam adjusted her energy stabilizer, gently guiding her hands to help channel her power. The pulse that ran through him felt stronger than ever. He realized that the bond was no longer just a connection. It was a shared strength, a partnership. Together, they could face more than either could alone. After the battle, the palace was quiet again. The guards were exhausted but alive, the Vorn retreating for now. Mira leaned on Sam as they walked through the halls toward the observation deck. "The council will want a full report," she said softly. "But tonight we rest." Sam nodded, glad for the moment of calm. They sat on the balcony, watching the stars above Valara. The sea glowed faintly, reflecting the constellations. "I never thought I would feel like this," Sam said quietly, "being so connected to another being. It's strange, but comforting." Mira looked at him with a gentle expression. "That is the bond. It is more than physical. It is emotional, mental, spiritual. You are tied to me now, and I am tied to you. That is why I feel safer with you." Sam felt his chest tighten. "I feel the same. I don't know why, but I cannot imagine leaving your side." She leaned closer, her glow brightening slightly. "Then you will stay. You are mine to trust, and I am yours." The words surprised him, but they were not threatening. There was no demand, only truth. A trust deeper than either had known before. Over the next days, the palace became a center of preparation. Sam taught the Villari engineers to use human strategies and equipment. Mira coordinated with her people, drawing energy maps and defensive plans. The bond between them grew steadily. When she felt weak, he felt it. When he focused energy into the shield, she felt it. It was a shared rhythm, a mutual strength that both frightened and comforted them. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the crystal towers in gold, Sam and Mira walked through the palace gardens. The glowing flowers reflected their energy pulses, creating a soft, dancing light around them. "You humans are unusual," Mira said, her voice calm. "You do not fear connection. You embrace it even when it is dangerous," Sam shrugged. "Maybe danger teaches us what is important. And right now you are important." She looked at him, her eyes full of emotion. "And you are important to me." They walked in silence, listening to the hum of the palace. Sam realized he was no longer thinking about leaving. The bond had made his decision for him. No matter what happened, he would stay beside her, defend her, and face the coming storm together. The final warning came from the palace AI. Vorn main fleet detected on the far horizon. Estimated arrival in 48 standard hours. Preparations required for maximum defense. Mira placed her hand on Sam's arm. "We have time, but it will be difficult. The season is ending, but I am still weak. We must act together." Sam nodded. "Then together we will stand. Whatever comes, we fight side by side." She smiled faintly, leaning on him slightly. It seems this bond was meant to be. Not just for protection, but for trust, for strength. And perhaps for more than either of us expected. Sam looked at her, feeling the truth in her words. "Then I stay. I am not leaving Valara. Not now, not ever." As the sun set, painting the crystal skies in warm shades, they stood together. The bond was no longer just a connection. It was a promise, a shared strength, and a beginning of something neither fully understood yet. The Vorn fleet would return. The battle was not over. But Sam and Mira were ready, not just as protector and princess, but as partners bound by heart, mind, and courage. They did not know the full cost of the bond yet. They only knew that as long as they were together, they were stronger than any enemy, stronger than fear, stronger than distance between worlds.